Alex Eala just lost again on clay. Same surface, same pattern, same result. And this time, it did not even feel competitive. That is the part people should be paying attention to. Because one bad match is normal. Every player has those. But when the same type of loss repeats, on the same surface, against different opponents, that is not a bad day. That is a pattern. And right now, that pattern is getting harder to ignore. Fans are not reacting quietly anymore. They are asking something much sharper. Is it time for a real change? Not a small adjustment. Not a minor tweak. A real change in direction. The coaching team. The system. The way her game is being developed. Because there is one contradiction that keeps showing up. This is a player who has already proven she can compete at a high level. She has beaten top players. She has stepped onto big stages and looked like she belonged. She reached the top 30. That version of her is real. We have seen it. But on clay, that version disappears. Rallies stretch longer. Control starts to fade. Confidence slips just enough to matter. And matches begin to feel out of reach before they settle. So what is actually happening here? Did opponents figure her out? Is her team not adjusting fast enough? Or is there something deeper that people are missing? Because the more this repeats, the more uncomfortable the question becomes. If a player keeps losing in the same way, at what point do you stop trusting the process? At what point do you start questioning the direction? That is exactly where we are right now. Between belief and doubt. Between patience and pressure. But before jumping to conclusions, you need to understand what this situation really is. Because it might not be what it looks like at all. This is what makes everything so complicated. Alex Eala is not supposed to be struggling like this. Not after what she has already shown. We are not talking about a player trying to break into the top 100. We are talking about someone who already made that jump. She proved she belongs at a higher level. And once a player reaches that level, the expectation changes. You are no longer judged on flashes. You are judged on consistency. That is where things begin to feel off. On hard courts, she looks dangerous. She plays fast. She takes the ball early. She turns defense into offense quickly. There is intent in every point. Now switch to clay. Everything slows down. Points extend. Instead of controlling rallies, she gets pulled into them. Not once. Not twice. Again and again. That is why fans are reacting. Because when the same issue appears across multiple tournaments, it stops feeling temporary. It starts feeling like a limitation. And that is where pressure builds. Clay season matters. It leads into Roland Garros. It affects rankings. It affects confidence. It shapes perception. If this does not improve, it does not stay isolated. It starts to define how players prepare against her. And more importantly, how she sees herself. Confidence in tennis is fragile. You hesitate for a moment. You second-guess decisions. You lose control of situations that used to feel natural. That is how small issues grow into real problems. So when people say it might be time for change, they are reacting to uncertainty. They are trying to understand if something is not working behind the scenes. If the coaching is not adapting. If the system is not matching her game. And the longer this continues, the louder that question becomes. Is this fixable? Or are we seeing a ceiling? Now take a closer look at the matches. This is where it stops feeling random and starts looking structured. Look at the match against Elise Mertens. On paper, it should be competitive. Mertens is experienced, patient, comfortable extending rallies. Eala starts strong. She steps inside the baseline. She takes control early. This is her natural game. But then the rally continues. The ball comes back. Higher, slower, deeper. She hits again. And again. And somewhere deeper in the rally, control fades. That is not coincidence. That is structure. If your game is built to finish points early, what happens when the surface forces you to stay in them? Now zoom out. This pattern repeats across multiple matches. Early aggression, long rally, loss of control, error, repeat. At some point, you stop calling it bad form. You start recognizing a system. Now look at her opponents. They are not rushing. They are not forcing risky shots. They are waiting. They are comfortable extending rallies. They are letting her take the risk. That tells you something important. They are not reacting to her. They are neutralizing her. So the question becomes clear. Why does a player who looks aggressive and unpredictable on hard courts become predictable on clay? Same player, same technique, different outcome. Now look deeper. The serve. On faster courts, it creates immediate pressure. Short returns. Early advantage. On clay, that advantage fades. Returns come back deeper. Points reset more often. Now every rally starts neutral, and she has to build from there. Again and again. That changes everything. Because now every point feels heavier. Every rally becomes something to survive instead of control. And over time, that pressure shows. Timing slips, shot selection changes, confidence drops slightly, and suddenly, the match is gone. So is this technical? Is it tactical, or is it structural? If it is technical, it can be fixed. If it is tactical, it can be adjusted. But if it is structural, it requires something bigger. A change in how the game is played. That is not quick. That is transformation. And this is where the conversation splits. Some say change the coach. Others say change the system. But what if both are missing the point? Because the more you watch, the clearer it becomes. This is not just about losing. It is about losing in the same way. Same patterns, same breakdown points, same results. And when tennis repeats like this, the solution is rarely simple. So here is the harder possibility. What if nothing is broken? What if we are misunderstanding her game? Because there is one assumption that keeps showing up. She trains in a system known for clay, so she should be strong on clay. That sounds logical, but when you watch her closely, it starts to fall apart. She does not play like a clay court player. Her game is fast. She steps inside. She takes time away. She finishes points early. That is not clay tennis. That is hard court instinct. Now place that same player on clay. Everything changes. The court slows the ball. Shots come back higher. Rallies extend. Her strengths become neutral, sometimes even weaknesses, because now she needs to hit one more ball, and then one more, until the rally belongs to the player who is more comfortable staying in it. This is not about forgetting how to play. This is about playing in conditions that do not match her instincts. And that changes the entire conversation. Because if that is true, changing the coach does not fix it. Changing the system does not fix it immediately. You are not adjusting tactics. You are reshaping instinct, and that is one of the hardest things in tennis. Now look at the numbers. On hard courts, she dominates short rallies. Under 5 shots, she wins a high percentage. That is identity. On clay, those rallies disappear. Points extend. Control shifts. And performance drops. That tells you everything. Her game is built to shorten points, not extend them. Now think about development. She is still young, still building, still learning how to construct points differently. Many players struggle on clay early. They adapt over time. They learn patience without losing aggression. They learn defense without becoming passive. That takes time. So maybe this is not decline. Maybe this is incomplete development. And incomplete players improve. So is it time for change? No. Because nothing is broken. What we are seeing is exposure. Exposure of what is not finished yet. On faster courts, she looks complete. On clay, she is still developing. That is not failure. That is timing. Every player grows unevenly. Some skills come early. Others take longer. When those timelines do not match, it creates confusion. It looks like inconsistency, but it is not. It is growth. Now here is the part that matters. She does not need to rebuild. She needs to add a stronger serve that holds up on slower courts, movement that feels natural on clay, more patience in longer rallies without losing aggression. Small adjustments, But those small adjustments change everything. Because once they click, the entire picture shifts. Long rallies become manageable. Slow courts stop exposing her, and suddenly, she becomes dangerous everywhere. That is when players stop being prospects. That is when they become contenders. So maybe the better question is not who to replace. Maybe the better question is this: how long before everything clicks? Because when it does, this entire conversation disappears. And if you are watching closely, you already know that moment is coming.